Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to an episode of Dirtnation Off-Road. So today, we're going to be doing a special video for you. It's New Year's Day, and we're going to be reviewing 2020 and all the hell and all the fire and all the fun stuff. Actually got George over here with me on video chat.
What's going on? So yeah, basically what we decided to do, because last year we put together a reel of everything we did, and we decided to do a little bit different this time. So we're going to try this out, this setup where we're talking over our cameras. He's in Vegas, I'm in Mega Desk Room, and we're gonna break down 2020, our favorite moments, and then you guys can comment below what you guys like the best from all the videos you've seen, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so pretty much what we did was I told George, pick 5 of your favorite moments or trips, and then I picked 5 of my own. Some of us match up on some of those, so then I added a couple extras in there. Reviewing 2020, George, I'm sure you didn't count. Take a guess. How many trips do you think we've done so far for 2020?
I haven't kept track, but I would say 2 a month. I'm just gonna think smart. So let's say 3 a month times 12, 36. I would say maybe 40 total.
Not even close. So not including the runs. Now, fun fact, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. We're gonna go through the top 10. We're gonna go through ones that were uploaded in 2020. There's been 2 trips that have not been uploaded yet. You guys are going to see it future that I think would have made this top 10 list because they were that good. Yesterday's run, holy crap. You guys want to see a gladiator baptized by fire? Just you wait. Anyways, we're only going to go over the ones that were recorded and edited and dropped in 2020. But all the videos we've done this year, 58 trips. That's 58 off-roading trips. That means we're more than 1 trip per week. Just a little bit over. 52 weeks, 58 off-roading trips. That's a lot of off-roading, guys.
This is also the first year that we've decided, like, hey, like, if you're busy, then he goes on a trip, I go on a trip. That's how we get a combination of so many trips, too. Because I know somebody, you're like, well, we didn't see you guys together 58 times. And it's like, yeah, well, with the schedule and being able to wheel with more of you guys, there's going to be times where, like, our team just, you know, between me and Dustin, we take a group on different days. It's just a necessity because the way our schedules are set up and making this all flow. Sometimes I'll go on a Thursday, he'll go on a Friday, and then that's how we accumulate the trips.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're going to see that probably quite a bit more, especially as we have smaller runs. You might see me go out and lead a group to go do something, and then you'll see George go out and lead a group to do something. As these runs continue to get bigger and bigger, we're going to deal with a little bit more, you know, issues in terms of trying to fit everybody, trying to manage everybody, spot everybody, record everybody. We want to make sure that whoever we bring out there, we want to capture it for what it is. We don't want to miss footage. We don't want to miss opportunities. We don't want to miss people because a lot of people are asking to come out with us. So that's something that we're working on for 2021. But regardless, it's been a very great year. We're going to get started with first the top 10. So what we'll do is we'll review, we'll talk about it a little bit, and then I'll show you some highlights that I'm putting together from those episodes. I definitely would want to see you guys comment below your favorite moments or your favorite videos from 2020. Love to hear from you guys. It's always good to reflect on good times, especially in a year like this where it's just been total crap. You got to recognize the good too.
Yeah, and then as we break them down, we're going to go from 10 up. So our favorite, and then we'll just break it down. But they could be in any order for you guys. So when you do comment, let us know. And then maybe we'll put together a prize for that specific scene, for that guy that made 2020 the year, especially with everything that's going on. It was tough for us. It was tough for everybody, but we tried to do the best to make sure you guys had a good time, try to keep it safe. And so far, we made it this far with nobody catching anything with us and keeping it clean, being prepared, and yeah, so let's go. Number 10.
Let's start with number 10. So number 10 was one that was my pick, and that was what we called Cleghorn Night Run number 3. And it's for one reason and one reason only. Well, I guess we'll go 2 reasons. First of all, night runs are great. We never capture how great they are on videos, but going out there, wheeling with your boys, having some drinks, having some fun, going through all these obstacles, you don't really capture it because it's dark, but it's always the most fun to go out on a night run. But the other reason, and the main reason for this video, is Feeney going through the chute. The very first time that we took him down the chute was at night, and it was a blast. Recording him, you know, Flacco, you know, getting him with the joke, like, you're leaking, check your pants, like, it was just a good time. Vic falling underneath the truck, Feeney ran over my iPhone. it was just it was nothing but good times.
Especially like if you've never done a night run, doesn't matter how many times you've done a trail. Then you go back at night and it just changes everything because your mind is playing tricks on you. You're thinking you're seeing things, and then you sprinkle Feeney in there, and it's a good time. So that I definitely do agree as being one of the top moments of 2020, just because it was such a big staple for Feeney because he had turned around a couple times in that particular obstacle, and then not only did he man up to do it, but he drove. And if I do remember correctly, it was like a phone call, and then we just kind of assembled the troops and just hit it.
Yeah, honestly, it was on a Wednesday, so I had just gotten done hanging out with my kids. I got off at like 7 o'clock with them, and then immediately just drove right to Cleghorn.
Yeah, I think I had just talked to him, and he was like, "I want to do it today," and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "All right, let's get it." So shout out to Feeney for not only conquering his fear, but also doing it at night. So huge props, Feeney.
Yeah, huge props. Okay, George, I'll let you introduce number 9 since that was the one that you picked.
All right, so number 9 comes with a heavy side of being judged, I guess you can say, for not being safe and exploiting these things that they considered us to be like. So not too long ago, maybe, what was it, like a month and a half ago?
A month ago, yeah.
Yeah, we had a hill challenge out at Pilot Rock or 2NX17. One of the hill challenges is really tough. Flacco and I were riding back from helping somebody in Manny's truck. And then Manny decided, he's like, "Hey, do you want me to just hit the obstacle with me in the back? With you guys in the back?" And Flacco said yes. I was still in the middle. That was really Flacco's idea, not to throw the shade at him or nothing, but he ended up hitting it, and that video kind of went viral after we posted it. We got heat from both sides saying, "Hey, you could have died." And then there's dudes that are just like, "I wish you died." I'm like, dang, man.
See, dude, there's a guy on Facebook that was going wild. He was like, "Oh man, if your brains are splat all over the floor, I'm just gonna drag you and your body and your Jeep to the side, and I'm just gonna keep going and call the." It's just like, all right, cool guy.
And I get it. I get why you guys think you're upset, because there's a good chance that if somebody gets hurt, trails get stopped. But understand that this was like spur of the moment, in the moment. We don't condone that. We don't ever really do any of that. Yes, we do have a lot of fun, and we do. You know, the difference between our team and other, I guess, videos or teams that you see out there is we don't front. We show you what happens. The whole thing, from the getting us out of holes to everything. Like, you guys got to understand that when people post videos, they edit the bullshit out. So we don't. We let you guys see it, so you understand that when you go wheeling, that's gonna happen. There's gonna be things that happen that are real life, not this beauty drive out to the ocean and nothing goes wrong scene, because that's never how it works. So that
No
particular
fake news here. No fake news.
Yeah, that particular moment was one of those where it's like, yes, it could have been really bad, but it wasn't. So you guys should have been happy, and it was a boom moment. You know, I think being in this truck, trying another moment that you'll see in this list, was way more dangerous than this. And I was strapped in everything, but I get it. But honestly, there was 2 walls.
All right, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, there was 2 balls on the side basically, so there was nowhere the truck was gonna go. And it's a built crazy rig, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, continuing with your thought on that, definitely a sketchy moment, but at the same time, it happened and ended up going viral, ended up being this big thing. It happened, we showed it, enjoy it for what it is, and know that we probably aren't going to do something like that ever again. Some other notes from that run, we had goods with a couple people being able to make it up Lunch Money Hill. Gladiator walked it, not George's obviously. Sammy's, hers freaking walked it like nothing, which was probably a big influence for us getting a Gladiator in the first place. But that happened, and then obviously we had a down moment, but it wasn't that bad. You know, Paul with his rollover on his FJ, that was kind of a crazy moment. Luckily, Paul has a good attitude. Paul works on vehicles. He knows the business. He knows how it is, you know. So it didn't end up being a big fiasco. He's actually working on fixing on it right now. I'm going to show you a picture of how Frankenstein this thing looks. It looks so dope. And we'll see that thing out on the trail with us again soon. So don't even worry about that. Also, one last side note for the Lunch Money Hill Challenge. At the end of that, we saw a bunch of dudes from the Gambler 500. Was the coolest thing ever. Nice way to top off the day.
Yeah, there was a Camry with a huge dig on it. And I still have that video. That was like the best. The best. All right, let's get to number 8.
Getting into number 8. We couldn't go and make a top 10 list without including the only Azusa trip of the year. Back in January, we hit Azusa Canyon with the boys, and it turned out to be one of the funner runs, one of the best moments of the year. Now, first of all, we showed up, probably had about 20, 25 people come with us, and then on top of that, we forgot our cameras. Well, I forgot our cameras. I'll just be honest. I forgot all our cameras. We ended up recording with a little Sony crappy camera, some GoPros, and my Galaxy S10 Plus with a microphone on it that I happen to have in the truck. So recording all that stuff, and you know, we didn't really do anything special. We hit some hills, we hit the obstacle course, and then, you know, we got to the mud pits. We did a highlights, which, I mean, you know, highlights for me personally is like one of the more funner things to do, being able to fly the drone, record people, and then come back to the computer and make a video, make a very cinematic masterpiece type of deal. That's one of the funner things for me personally to do. So that trip stood out to me. Really good times. Can't wait for Azusa to open up again.
Was that also Themo's first time in Azusa too, right?
That was Themo's one and only time in Azusa. And one of my favorite moments from that video was when you're there egging on Themo. You're just like, come on, Themo, come on. And then he just hits the mud pit. That was good. That was a good time.
We need Azusa back. That's like one of the solid moments of this year. And bring Azusa back. Whoever's stopping that, please help us out. We'll come out and clean it. We'll go do whatever we got to do. Just bring Azusa back. We need it.
Sounds good. We'll move on to the next one. I think for this next one, that was my pick, so I'll go through that one.
Hit it.
Next one, number 7, Big Body Showdown at Cleghorn. This was a special run because, for a couple reasons. It was the first run where neither me or George drove. Actually, Flacco drove. The day before, we flooded the Tacoma at King of the Hammers. It wouldn't start. The interior was ripped out. The truck was unusable. So I went with Flacco. We all rode with him. But it doesn't even matter that Flacco was there, because the point was we had 20-something full-size trucks show up to Cleghorn ready for some hard lines. And a lot of these guys, if you go back and watch that video, almost all of these guys are staples on our team right now. And that's what sticks out to me, is that we met these guys on previous runs, but finally being able to show them some love, get some full sizes down there, and have all these guys be regulars in our crew. Special moment, one of my favorite times of last year. And then last thing I'll say about it, side note, we took 11 full-size trucks down the chute that day. That's props to George right there. That's props to George.
That was such a good moment, not just to prove that you can wheel anything if done correctly, but yeah, like you said, like Dustin said, Jace is still around. Tundra Vic's a savage. I mean, so much good came out of that run that 2021 will have another full size for sure.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be doing some more full size stuff, because those guys, they just party different. They party different. They plan different. They do lunch
And
different.
V8s.
Dude, and V8s. V8s, and they already, think about it, full size trucks, they have the parts we're all trying to put on our vehicles. They have Dana 60s. They have big V8s. They have beefy transmissions, so they can beat their shit up, and you don't have to worry about it.
Let's go. Number 6 is Moab for me. So Moab had a bunch of things, obviously, that were memorable. Hanging out with Jace for a whole week, hanging out with Vic, and watching them go like this the whole time was pretty funny. But the most memorable piece for me was when Tundra Vic took a U-turn. We saw him coming back, and then we saw him just like hit it. When you know you make that V8 sound, and it's like, okay, here he comes full throttle, and then he just like, boom, send it to the moon. He landed perfect. Mind you, Tundra Vic's truck is super built, like king shocks all around, bump stops, all the goodies, but it's also fully loaded with a whole week's worth of traveling. So food, toolboxes, extra tire, you name it, tents, chairs, everything was in there. So he sent it to the moon, landed, and then I think the only thing that happened was his toolbox on the inside broke. But again, Tundra Vic came from that full-size invasion, kind of on accident, I heard. And yeah, I mean, him going full send there and having that whole week in Moab to bring you guys content and showcase what Moab looks like. And that'll be another 2021 for us. Dustin and I will be there together, and we'll show off the taco, show off the Gladiator, and then make them work.
A couple notes for me. Obviously, I didn't go to the Moab trip, which is okay. You know, those things happen. But being able to get our team out there to hit some of the more legendary, more memorable trails out there in Moab, hitting Hell's Revenge, hitting the hot tubs, hitting Metal Masher, hitting all that stuff. It's a good moment for us, and it's a good start. And, being able to branch out into other states, that's something we're going to continue to do. Now, something that I will note as my favorite moment from those series of videos is Jace's complete rant about the Power Wagon and 4 low and the rear locker coming off. It was complete epicness. When Jace goes off the chain, it is hilarious. One of my favorite moments. You'll definitely see it in our little highlights section.
This is for Ram. When you build a beast like this and you're trying to do 4 high and you've got your rear lockers on, don't have it disengage at 20-25 miles an hour, because then I end up burying my ass in sand, and then I got that old man over there taunting me saying I made it in my Tundra, because you know what'll happen? I'm gonna sell this and get a Tundra.
He's gonna sell it and get a Tundra. Moab's gonna be a thing, and why I went was Power Wagons and Moab. I was invited by Jay, so it wasn't something we planned. It kind of just boom, it came up, and I was like, hey, it's an opportunity to show up. Let's go get some content. So this next time around, we'll probably have Jaime there. We'll probably have Themo there. We'll probably have some more of our guys there for sure. And then we'll make it a 3-4 day trip, and we'll enjoy that. So Moab 2021, stay tuned.
Absolutely. So number 5, President's Choice, Parker, Arizona. We had maybe 4 or 5 Parker trips this year. The one that stood out to me by far is that President's Choice run. And because I consider that to be the Hardlines run of the year. Probably wasn't the hardest trail we did. Probably wasn't the craziest trail, the most damage. But just for some reason, that encapsulated, or whatever the word you want to say, 2020 and our growth and the things that we do. I absolutely love that trail. I love that run. The recording, the commentary, and being able to use the Jeep, use the Tacoma, and go out there with some savages and just hit some really fun, gnarly trails. It was a good time. It was worth the tail light. It was worth all that stuff. Bending the bumper down, bending it back up.
My tail light, my corner, my...
George's Jeep got hammered that day.
And mind you, my Jeep is small. He had a truck. So there were certain lines that I took where the Tacoma, just because of size, not because it can't do it, it's just being either we walk out of there with the truck or we don't. But Parker just hits different. If you really want, if you're one of those guys, I want to go hit some hard trails, take the 2.5 hour drive to Parker. Call Themo. He'll take you somewhere that you're going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have called Themo.
Definitely. One of my favorite runs of the year, and one of, just for me personally, being able to take the Tacoma through a trail like that, proud moment. Definitely looking forward to doing more of that stuff out in AZ.
Number 4, Patreon run in Ocotillo. I mean, here's the thing. So with Patreon, we have a solid group in there that those are guys that have been following us either from the beginning or just want my extra content, want the extra invites. If you're not on Patreon, go check it out. But this particular run was so big, and just the whole energy piece of it, that's the biggest thing. So when you go to a Patreon run with us, it's all family. You bring your kids out. We enjoy barbecue. We enjoy sharing food. We hang out for solid hours, and it's not just about, hey, let's just go break something, We went to Ocotillo, and then we did our run there and back, and everything was just perfect. I guess, I mean, I know days are hard to say that, but that particular weekend, everything went smooth. Food was great. All the rigs ran well. I mean, there was nothing bad about it. So just having a run where there's no negativity that comes back is just, it's amazing.
A couple highlights from that run that stick out to me. First of all, Bill showed up with a tattoo on his arm.
That's true.
That was insane. Bill shows up with a tattoo. Second of all, Sluice was out of this world. Tacoma hit Sluice, and that was kind of like a crowning moment for the Tacoma hitting hard lines, George's spotting abilities, mine and his communication, hitting stuff, and being able to left foot break the right way and turn and do all this other stuff. I am proud of that, just in the fact that it shows that me and you, good chemistry. We know I know what you're saying, and I know how to control the truck in order to avoid stuff,
Yeah, and honestly, that line that we took, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it right up the center, right in line like that. Most people ride the wall this way or ride the wall this way. So having the taco do it kind of puts a staple to go back a year and a half, 2 years ago when we'd pull up and look at that and we're like, oh, we're never doing that.
Exactly.
And then having that moment was like, I mean, we walked it, finished it, and then we just kind of looked at each other like, fuck, we just did that.
We were hyped. We were definitely hyped. Other part of that, part two of hitting Sluice, Mochi's hitting the hard line on Sluice. That man gave me a heart attack. That was crazy. Now we're going to talk about Mochi's a little bit more on another part of the list, but him hitting this part of Sluice was complete insanity. There's something about him in the driver's seat doing his thing, Boodle in the passenger seat, and them just hitting the craziest stuff. He had his Jeep up on one wheel, up like this, and this dude, he sent it. Took it around that, and that was crazy. You know, other guys tried it, didn't really make it. No names.
Mochi's and like Demo, they're some of the line me up kind of guys. So Mochi's,
line me up, let's do it.
Mochi's is definitely one of them guys where it's like a little four banger that could, and I mean, you've seen them in plenty of our videos, Cheeto bag incident, all those very iconic Mochi moments. But yeah, I Patreon Alcatilla was one of those super 2020 moments for sure.
So
Catil Wells being able to go there, play at the 4x4 course all day, and then follow that up with a night run to Anza-Borrego. We go to Diablo Drop-Off. Vic sending it to the absolute moon, going up Diablo Drop-Off on the side.
Yep.
That was insane. Coming home through Fish Creek at nighttime, you know, wasn't anything spectacularly hard or anything like that. It was just nice. It was fun. It was good energy. Like George said, it was just the types of runs that we want to have, and it's around the types of people that we want to be around. Camping trips,
let's not
always
forget
great.
Let's not forget about Sammy and the sliders they put together. Oh my God, that pulled
wait,
pork.
what now?
The pulled pork, remember?
Oh, those were good.
Yeah, those pulled pork were fire. So Sammy and the Gladiator, thank you very much. You and your man put that together.
There's something about camping trips. Now, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. The rest of these trips are all camping trips, and there's a reason, because camping trips hit it on the head. Because we're able to spend time with people and eat good food, have good times, get wasted, do all that stuff. It's always great. All right, let's get into number 3. We are now reached the top 3 for Dirt Nation runs in 2020. Up next, TDS 2020. Now, TDS was very special for a couple reasons. First of all, it was the last run before we started to have close downs and shutdowns and everything like that. It was kind of the last run before the pandemic. So things were open. There was no mask. There was none of this other stuff. And TDS, you know, Tierra del Sol is an event that's been going on for 50-something years now. Jeepers go out, they do runs in Ocotillo Wells, and there's a bunch of people that show up. They camp, they do RVs, they, you know, do Can-Ams and side-by-sides and motorbikes and all this other stuff. It's a giant party for a week long in Ocotillo Wells. Now for us, we only went on Saturday night, Sunday morning. Started off with the run in Anza-Borrego, which was fun in itself. 25 people just went and hit Fish Creek, Diablo Drop-Off, did that whole thing. That was a lot of fun. But once we got to TDS, it was something special. Showed up there at nighttime, got our tent set up, and then we went out for a night run at the obstacle course. And that brought probably my favorite moment of Dirt Nation so far. And that was the very first time that we took Mochis through Sluice. Sluice to us was something like George said before. We looked at that and we were just like, there's no way we're ever hitting something like that. And then we lined up Mochis and we pretty much carried his Jeep through Sluice. We're rocking him back and forth. We're freaking shaking him. We're jumping on bumpers. And this is all with a giant crowd of people that don't know us. Honestly, I felt like a goddamn superstar. I felt like our team looked like such badasses getting our guy through there. Little ass Jeep on 35s with lockers. Nothing special. A regular ass Jeep that you can go out there and buy and build yourself.
Yeah.
And we did that. I was so hyped. I was so happy with that moment. Tons of fun. And there's a lot of other stuff. I'll let George get to some of it and then I'll continue.
Yeah, I mean that's so long ago, but for me that memorable moment where it was like one of those like at the buzzard shots. As soon as he got him over that rock and it was over, it just like boom, everybody was like, the crowd was crazy. And if you've never been to TDS, there's a certain energy there that when people do obstacles that are like not supposed to be done, or you know, one Jeep hits it and he doesn't make it, and the next guy hits it and doesn't make it, and the next guy hits it and he finally makes it, there's an energy there that you really don't get anywhere else. So doing something like backdoor, if you ever have the opportunity to do it where it's safe and we're not going through pandemics and stuff, go check that out, because it's a different experience. That wheeling with like a group and doing stuff like that, yeah, there's some fun there too, but when there's 100 people on this side and 100 people on this side and they make it and then it just explodes, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Now, I'm surprised that you're completely forgetting about like the number one moment from TDS, which is your moment. This is your moment, and you completely forgot about it. How are you going to forget this, bro? How are you going to forget this? Okay, let me just tell you this. I'll start with mine, because that weekend, me and George both almost died for very different reasons. First of all, we'll get into mine because mine's less dramatic than yours.
Yeah, I remember now.
I drank myself stupid that night. Obviously, I didn't drive after, continuing to drink so much. But we were at camp, and that was nuts. It was a whole night of mama didn't raise no bitch, and non-stop drinking. Now, which obviously is not a very safe thing to do, but hey, we're out camping. We have a good time. Like George said, we record stuff. We're honest. There's no fake news. I was pretty hungover the next morning, but that brings to George's moment, which happened the next day.
Yeah.
Dude, Dustin got so drunk and it was so windy, the tent collapsed on him, and he just he used it as a blanket. Like there was no. He woke up in the morning and the tent just kind of folded out to get him out of there. We were like, "What the hell? Where's Dustin?"
The only thing holding the tent to the ground was my ass sleeping in it, which was pretty nice.
I slept in the Tacoma because that wind was nuts. So TDS is not very tent friendly unless you have one of them nice tents, I guess you can say. And even then you're playing with fire. So my moment was the next morning. If you've been to TDS out there in that area, there's a training center there where a lot of people, where Sluice is at, where some of the crazy moments are. But there's a particular tube thing that literally looks like this, and there's a ramp here, and you gotta land it up top. So the reason why Dustin said we both almost died, so I decided to call my girlfriend and tell her, hey, I'm gonna do this crazy thing, don't worry about it, okay? Hung up. She's going full freak out because she knows I'm fucking nuts, which was probably not the smartest thing to do.
You don't call somebody like that and then say, hey, I'm gonna die now, see you later.
Yeah. So
Manny was sitting there, and I'm like, well, I want to do it, and everybody's telling me don't do it. Dustin told me not to do it. Flacco, everybody, the whole team's like, nah, fool, don't do it. And again, another mama don't raise no bitch moment, I guess, and the adrenaline of the whole thing. I'm like, dude, I gotta see it. I mean, that's on my bucket list of someday putting something up there and then driving out of there. So obviously, Manny's truck is caged. He has 4-point or 6-point belts, whatever. He has the seats. He has what it takes to get up there. It's still scary as shit because honestly, when he sent it, you don't see anything. It's just sky. You're just like, okay, I guess it makes it. And the biggest piece of it is we went up and did that 6 times. I'm like, Manny, just send it, dog. It's scary. So he finally sent it. Ended up breaking, I think, his drive shaft and the front links or something.
Broke his drive shaft and he broke his transfer case.
Yeah, the transfer case. That's what broke. And but yeah, that moment in particular was something I ate when I got home, and then also sitting in that truck and seeing that was there's nothing that compares to that. Even riding in the back, going up that hill, and all the controversy I got from that. This was way scarier. I was in the truck, but I mean, it could have gone this way, off the side, on this side, and it doesn't matter, dude. That drop is 2-3 stories. That even with the cage, it's gonna hurt.
I mean, keep in mind, he was in a cage vehicle, 5-point harnesses, and they were both wearing helmets with a bunch of people around ready to recover him. Still a scary moment, still something crazy. We've seen people go up it, we've seen people go down it. It's one of the crazier things that you can do. But I agree with George. It's something definitely on the bucket list. Someday the Tacoma will be standing at the top of that. I don't know if it's going to get down it, but it'll get up it. Someday. Let's get into number 2. Do you want to do number 2?
Thanksgiving. We had a run. Probably my moment for 2020 in general. The setup of leading up to Thanksgiving was such a difficult task in its whole thing between me and Dustin, having to communicate and making sure everything is set up. And as you guys know now, I do this YouTube thing full time, and providing better shirts, sweaters, all the content and all that stuff. We still do this together. But this particular moment was the whole planning of getting a taco guy, getting either a BDI guy, getting like me and Dustin went through 100 steps behind the scenes before we landed on this big moment of like, dang, everything worked the way it was supposed to once again, all the behind the scenes planning leading up to Chicken Rock was such an amazing moment for me to see it play out in itself, and then just watching the people show up, being safe. We had sanitizer, we had gloves, we had all that stuff that was needed, and then having people pull up that weren't even part of a group, wondering like, dang, who's doing this? And then giving us props, meeting new family, like you guys, we have new subs now, and just the energy of that moment, having taco guy come out, having a michelada guy come out, having like the kids running around, dogs running around, and everybody being safe. That was my moment. Like, as a squad, as a Dirt Nation team, I think if we can recreate that again and again, that'll be a winning formula for sure.
3 words: rock crawling, tacos, and beers out in the middle of the desert. There's nothing more you could ask for. And being able to come out, have a huge celebration for 2020, Thanksgiving weekend, and as you said, be safe about it, right? We had hand sanitizer, we had face masks, we had everything available for people that wanted to be safe. And I mean, obviously we all want to be safe, but it was a big party. It was a celebration. The off-roading was on the light side. We still had a good time. We obviously hit Chicken Rock, and everybody's, we put a bounty out there for the V-notch, and everybody's hitting hard lines, and we had a lot of close calls and V8s and all this other stuff. And it was just, like you said, extremely good vibes and extremely great way to wrap up the year with a giant group run. I think we had somewhere close to 150, 200 people there, probably around 90 to 100 vehicles. It was a huge run. And it was something that is just like, hey, we need to do this every year. We need to have a big celebration like this. Celebrate the community, celebrate the people. George talks about the behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to be honest. We all talked about it, but this dude put in a ton of work getting a taco guy, getting the Michi guy, getting all this stuff, together, and getting sponsors for us and all that stuff. It was a lot of work. And I mean, props to George for doing that. And obviously props to the sponsors of the event, being able to have a raffle, give away 9 winches. That's a lot of crap. Give away 9 winches and all this other stuff. Weston, Super Winch, and Huertos, and freaking Earthcrawler, and all these other companies, they did a good job in hooking us up and making sure that we can take care of our people, because it's just something that we want to do. We want to give back. We want to build a good community.
I want to add to that too, like part of this sponsorship situation, like, I mean, you could look at other channels. There's no channel doing the amount of giveaways that we gave out that weekend. Just so shout out to Weston and Dave and Cameron and Super Winch and everything that those guys do for us and you guys, like the bump stops, the springs, the amount of other guys that we've been able to link up with because of that. And not only that, but Paul was the one that started the trickle effect of Weston. So shout out to Paul for hooking that up. 2 big memorable moments I want to mention on that day. Henry doing Chicken Rock and his wife going absolutely berserk in the background.
Nuts. Went nuts. It was the best.
It was like one of the most solid feels of 2020. Just watching her excitement of her husband rocking this mountain in front of everybody was awesome. And then I'll let you mention the second one, redemption for our pal.
Hell, dude. Burro is crazy. Now, you guys know Burro. He's our Subi driver. First time, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but he tried Chicken Rock previously. He ended up making it up with a little bit of struggles. He ended up debeating a tire, hitting a rock, and being able to take him back, after he fixes it, he had a bent shock and obviously the bent rim and the wheel or whatever, coming back and hitting Chicken Rock, walking it like nothing. That was exciting. Good to see. I like to see our people succeed, especially somebody like Burro. Burro has been a staple of our channel for a long time. This dude flipped a Subi on our second run a year and a half ago, and he's still around. still out there supporting us, supporting the brand, and it's good to see him conquer stuff like that. Just wait. We're going to see that Subi go through Gold Mountain. That thing's going to be doing crazy stuff in 2021. Stay tuned.
Yeah, and he's Burrow Subi XJ now too. So now he has
also XJ.
Now he has an XJ, and I'm low key scared. I'm not gonna lie, because he's that guy that pushes that limit to the next thing.
Something that we didn't mention from the Lunch Money Hill Challenge. He scared the living shit out of us going up the gatekeeper at 2 and 17X in his XJ, freshly bought XJ, by the way. That was nuts.
But yeah, I just want to tell one more thing right before we move on to number one. Burrow, Ted, and then obviously my girl Nikki took care of all the tickets, all the merch, pretty much. So me and Dustin could record. I stepped away, and they handled all that beautifully. So shout out to Burrow, shout out to Ted. I think I had Irv helping, and then Magneto, Daniel was helping. He also donated a hose kit, and we were able to give that away. So, yeah, man, that moment was for all the sponsors, everybody that showed up. It's your guys' moment, and we're hoping that in 2021 we have 2 to 3 big moments like that, where we can do a bunch of giveaways, give back to you guys, and you guys can just bring your family and enjoy a weekend of camping and getting to know everybody. Hopefully COVID slows down and everybody's healthy, and then we move on from that. So, Dustin, let's break in number one.
Number one, now, Thanksgiving takeover, right? How can we top something like that? The only way that I could top something like that is the only reason that we even had the idea or even thought about having this run was because of this previous run, and that was our big takeover at Ocotillo Wells or Lucerne Valley, whatever you want to call it. I think the video we call it Lucerne Valley Dirt Nation Takeover. That was us collaborating with Keep It Dirty Off-Road. We had this huge run, and there was a lot of behind the scenes planning with that as well, because we originally planned to do a run for Pioneer Town all the way to Big Bear, and that was supposed to be a 2-wheel drive friendly run, open to everybody. We wanted to have as many people as possible, and it started out with just Black Armor bed mats as a sponsor, and then we bring in Weston, and then we bring in Off-Road Alliance, and then we bring in G&G Lighting and all these other companies, to where now we have all these sponsors. People are excited. We had to reschedule this run 2 times because of California forest fires. First, we had the huge fire. Had to reschedule it. We were planning on doing the same area. Then we had another fire, so we're just like, screw this. We have to avoid the mountains. We're going to have to go out into the desert. So we planned and went to Lucerne Valley, and we ended up with 125 trucks showing up. And the reason this run tops the list for me, I realize the superstars power of our brand and the people that we have in this brand. That's not just talking about me and George. That's talking about the people that we have. Being able to have 125 people or 125 trucks show up, and then in turn 85 of those follow us over to Chicken Rock to watch us play, that opened my eyes to the possibilities of what we can do with this brand. And it was a crazy, honestly, just amazing moment. Now, that's not to discount what Keep It Dirty Off-Road does, because they set up this run. This was their run that they allowed us to, join in and kind of bump it up. But being able to have that many people follow us and come out with us on a run, and being able to go rock crawl and hit a dry lake bed and do all this other stuff, it was a ton of fun. And that gave us the idea for having the Chicken Rock event at Thanksgiving. If that wouldn't have happened, if we wouldn't have felt those good energy, that good vibes, and doing all that awesome stuff, we wouldn't have had number 2 in the first place. So,
and to add to this, like, Keep It Dirty, doing the energy thing about who brought who. This goes out to like all the other teams. Like, instead of beefing and not wanting to hang with people, and look at the power of collabing. Like, collab, everything grows. Like, just They got to meet some of us, we got to meet some of them. In turn, obviously the world is kind of social media based now. So if that's something of importance, I guess you can say. I mean, me and Dustin, obviously that's our business now, but like, just collabing, being good around other teams, it's like, it's probably like the best feeling to know that, hey, look, yeah, you go fast, I do crawling. Like, let's meet in the middle and do something where we can both have fun, Find a trail where you can go fast a little bit, we'll chase, and then you shine, and then we'll shine during crawling and whatnot. But just the collaboration, all the teams out there, you guys should do that more often. We look forward to working with other teams in 2021 and just expanding, because there's certain things that you guys are going to do better than us, and that's just good. So then we learn from you, you guys learn from us, and we've always been open to everybody. Obviously there's always going to be a little bit of heat and beef, I guess you guys can say, amongst channels, but we don't really care about that stuff. We just like the collaboration works so much better. And going back to how Thanksgiving run happened, it was Weston and Dave seeing that and saying, hey, you know what, we want to do it bigger, but have the Dirt Nation family come out.
I agree. It was just a great run, and like I said, the biggest thing to me was just I didn't realize we could pull such a big crowd, and that shocked me. It was I was on a adrenaline high for a whole week after that run. And that wasn't even from me driving. I hit 2 obstacles that day and drove a little bit on the dry lake bed. It was seeing everybody come out. It was the energy. It was the vibes. It was Boodle taking his fucking Subi up Chicken Rock, popping a tire, and to just hear the entire crowd, oh, or cheer when he finally makes it up. Just like, it felt like, it rolls me back to when we went to SEMA and we saw Hoonigans at the Burnyard, and just a big crowd and everybody screaming and cheering and have a good time. Like, it was that type of moment, and I was just blown away by it. Blown away by 2 dudes standing on the side of a mountain can bring so many people together. It's just crazy, and I have nothing but appreciation for it, and I'm looking forward to doing more of it next year.
Yeah, and I go back to the same thing. Why we picked that as being number 1, it was kind of like the eye-opener for us. Like, we were like, hey, look, there is more here than just wheeling, you know. We have a solid family. Let's start trying to take care of our family, you know. So that's why everything we do it in a sense for you guys to win, because we know that if you win, then we win. So the content, all of that, buying a new truck, bringing you new things to see, it's because we hit moments in time in our channel where we look at it, it's like, okay, we have to bring something new, you know. And we do it for you guys, honestly. I'm a race car guy. I don't really would have spent money on a truck. I would have rather bought the new Supra or something like that. But we're in our business now, and then learning the whole process of it. And, you know, especially with this run, like Dustin said, the energy levels there were, you can't match them. Just because it wasn't really our run, and then working with another team and having just positive vibes all around was awesome. So shout out to Helio and everybody from Keep It Dirty, and obviously all the sponsors and stuff. But yeah, number 1 was solid. Yeah.
You know, it's been a great year. I mean, you realize, you go through this list, not once did we mention anything in Big Bear. We had a huge year in Big Bear. We hit all the hard stuff in Big Bear. I mean, we hit John Bull, we hit Dishpan, we hit Holcomb Creek, we hit all those like 2 or 3 times. Didn't even mention them. That's how crazy of a year it's been. And, you know, we've been all over the place. Hungry Valley, all this other stuff. And it's just been a fun year. And I'm definitely looking forward to hitting some new stuff during this year and trying some new things. I mean, we've been out there rock crawling, abusing Tacomas, abusing other trucks the entire year. Now we have some new vehicles in the lineup. We got the XJ last year. We have the Gladiator now. We finally have Winters up and running. So now, just between me and him, we have 4 different vehicles. I'm looking forward to trying new builds, trying some new things, as well as continuing to do what works. And what works for us is fucking shit up.
Yeah, I mean, that's of huge importance. Obviously, you guys know that breaking stuff costs money, and me and Dustin have, I don't know how we've managed to keep it going this far out. Obviously, your guys' support helps us a lot. Consider joining Patreon. That's going to be another huge push in 2021 for us. We're going to redo the whole thing. We haven't had time to really bump heads, and we should have had it done by now, but in the next week or so, you'll see some changes there and more consistency in videos and whatnot. So we do look forward to making more Patreon runs and all that stuff. But yeah, man, Big Bear has always been a huge staple. It's my backyard technically because I'm right by it. And but there's moments that still didn't make the list, like fixing the Silverado, getting Dustin towed out with no brakes. Like there's countless moments in our timeline that are like crazy. But I mean, with all that being said, our videos are getting carried away now because there's so many vibes. We both want to say thank you. Shout out to a challenging 2020. And yeah, we love you. Dustin?
All right, let's wrap it up. So, I mean, definitely, I would love for you guys to comment below. Let us know what your favorite 2020 moments are with Dirt Nation, whether they've been moments that you've seen on screen or moments that you've experienced in person. Love the conversation, love to hear from you guys. But we're all done here. That is the top 10 list for 2020 Dirt Nation runs / moments. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe channels. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. You can always hit us up for shirts and hats and all those hoodies and goodies and all that good stuff at dirtnationoffroad@gmail.com. I want to thank you guys. We'll see you again next time.